And Bronte, this, I understand that As Ever is an existing clothing brand. Has there been any response? What do we know? I mean, don't these things get checked first?
Yeah, as Samara just said, it's not been probably the smooth rollout that Meghan would have hoped for. It is already a brand. I mean, that's always going to be likely when you have a phrase that exists and they're two words in the English language. But it does seem that possibly that maybe not all the checks and balances have occurred here, but it's a New York-based clothing brand that was established in 2015. It appears to be a family business. I I believe they've gotten a lot of attention since this launch, and a lot of people are now aware of this brand, which on one hand is a good thing. On the other hand, it's not great that it seems to be sort of steamrolled by Meghan's new brand. But they've taken to Instagram, the founder has, and he said, look, thank you for the support. We're aware of what's happening. We have no affiliation with this new brand. And he thanked everyone basically for getting in touch and showing support. So hopefully that doesn't impact. And we don't have any idea whether Meghan intends to sell clothing or go into the fashion space at all. So maybe they won't intersect too much. But as you mentioned, it's just not ideal. It's just part of this overall idea that it maybe has been slapped together a little bit quickly.
And Samara, it's not just the name, it's also the logo, as I mentioned in the editorial. There's been some criticism. Is there anything in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's Porres, it's this Majorcan town. Like the mayor has even chimed in. This is now big time, but it just shows that this was all a Google away, but it just wasn't considered. I mean, there are some real similarities between those two logos, and it just really hasn't been thought through. I mean, I don't think this lawsuit will really go anywhere because Meghan is the bigger person with the bigger amount of money and the better lawyers, but to kind of come for a Spanish town like this and just not think anything through is really reckless behavior on Meghan's part. And it just kind of really proves that, yeah, it just was a totally shambolic kind of cobbled together idea that was not considered.
And moving on, still with the Sussexes, but onto the Invictus Games. And Bronte, the Invictus Games finished last weekend, but we understand there was a security scare for Prince Harry. What happened?
Yeah, so as far as we'd seen, the Invictus Games was as big a success as always. Harry looked very happy front and centre, but it has emerged that on the second last day, there was a security scare involving the Duke. So he appeared to be sitting there at the sitting volleyball tournament, and I think there was an overeager crowd that wanted to get selfies with him, and obviously his security team felt they were getting too close and obviously a bit, as I mentioned, overeager. And so they had to usher him out and cut short his attendance at that event, which is a shame, and I'm sure he would have been disappointed because it was meant that he wasn't able to sit there with Team UK, and he was meant to catch up with them afterwards, and that all had to be cut short. So yeah, a disappointing outcome for that particular event, but it does appear that the rest of it went fairly smoothly.
That's good to hear. And Samara, Princess Anne, she's my favourite, and she's an absolute favourite on this show. And she's renowned for re-wearing clothes she's had for decades, which is something I love. We understand this week, she trotted out a particularly special outfit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you all the way there, Caroline. Princess Anne is my favorite of all time. She is class, she is sophistication, something that we don't see much of across the pond. But yeah, I mean, she basically wore this dress that was 33 years old and that she married Sir Timothy Lawrence in. And it was just a testament to how stoic she is, and she wore it for this humanitarian reception. So she's just an absolute icon because it's really a masterclass in timelessness, elegance, sustainability. It's a total contrast to the frenzied commercialism that we see in Meghan Markle's new venture. And it just kind of shows the real clash between values there with the royal family and then Harry and Meghan's new life. There's no comparison in my mind between those two. Anne is class. She really, really is royalty.
And Bronte, more wholesomeness, this time out of the Wales household. And this week, the kids were drawing portraits of each other. They've been released by the Palace. Super fun, great story.
It's so cute. And this is something we see a lot. So this was put out on social media, and I think it's the first time we've ever seen drawings by the kids, but also by Kate, who's actually very creative. You know, she did art at university. And so there's 4 pictures, and they didn't actually specify who'd done which ones, but they're portraits of each other. It's pretty clear which one Kate did. There's an amazing picture of Louis in there, which is quite beautiful. It's either that or one of the kids is an unbelievable prodigy. And there's another one that appears to be done by Prince George, which again is a bit more advanced. But it's really cute, and that follows on from an outing she had at the National Portrait Gallery last week, where she did a similar exercise with a bunch of young kids. And it's all about focusing on togetherness and focusing on each other in those moments where you're really looking at the people that you love and that you care about and taking in, you know, who they are and having that connectiveness. So it was a really cute exercise. And as I said, we've not seen their drawings and their artistic side in this way before. And we had Prince Louis taking photographs, and that photo of his mum was released recently as well. So we are delving a little bit more into the creative side of the Walesers. And as you said, it's just really wholesome, and it was a really cute activity.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was really lovely and really normal, really relatable. That's what normal everyday families do, and I just thought that was wonderful. And Samara, I've only got about 30 seconds left, but it's been reported this week on how the King and Queen celebrated their Valentine's Day. What can you tell us?
Well, it's just nice to see that love story is continuing. I mean, they basically marked their Valentine's Day with a really romantic dinner at Windsor Castle. They were joined by 12 of their closest friends. They're known for their very close-knit friendship circle. And it's just nice to see in their twilight years, you know, them really getting along, King Charles embracing his role as king so amazingly, and Queen Camilla just always being by his side, very steady and very constant. So I'm just happy for the both of them, and they're the king and queen of low key as well. I really appreciate about them.
As do I. Thank you so much, Samara Gill and Bronte Coy.